Shut up and sit down.
Hello and welcome to Reddit iRacing League. This is Season 24, Round 8, and tonight we're racing the Cadillac CTS-V World Challenge car around Michigan International Speedway 2014. I'm David Haynes. Joining me will be Aaron Thacker, and in the broadcast booth is Michael Derby. But Aaron, this one, it's a road course car, big supercharged V8 around this 2-mile oval course.
David, like we've been for the majority of this season, we're in for another absolute treat tonight. This car weighs 3,200 pounds, a 6.2 liter V8. David, I think that's as big as the average Australian home. I am interested to see how this goes because, my goodness, is the draft going to be powerful, but these cars are going to be a handful for these guys as the tires fall off tonight.
Yep, so let's talk about that format. Fixed setup, everyone running the same setup. A 1-hour race, cautions enabled. Qualifying is just wrapping up now. Most of the times are done. But we've got one fast repair. Lucky Dog also enabled single file restarts. So that's what we're working with tonight for a 60-minute race. Everyone's definitely going to have to pit for fuel if it was green the whole length. I think the odds of that, not especially likely though.
Yeah, not especially likely, David, and I'm taking a quick look at where our standings are in the championship points. Right now, the top two are separated by 7 points. Giovanni Romano with 247 and Nate Franklin nipping on his heels with 240 points. And about 35, just over 30 points behind that is Devin Peters with 229. Alex Albert in P4. Let's remember that fantastic drive that Alex Albert had last week, pulling out a very strong first place. But David, I am scrolling down the field, and Alex Albert is in a very advantageous position already in qualifying.
Yep, it was 10 minutes for qualifying and 4 laps, and everyone I can see has done those already now. We're just waiting for the clock to tick down and end the session, so we can probably go ahead and bring you our qualifying order. On pole, I don't think I've said this ever, Antonio Alvarez. Used to see him a bit deeper in the field, but he has pulled out a very fantastic time, 41.346. So he will start on the front row, and alongside him, as you mentioned, Alex Albert. Second row is Giovanni Romano and Devin Peters. Behind that, Jordan Babcock, Andrew Fawcett, and then Justin Layman's, Christopher Flamion, Justin Hall, and 10th place is Brian Beeman.
Let's run down the remaining part of our order. We've got Jeremy Rogers in P11, Philip Linden P12, Austin Burdick P13, Rob Hopp P14, Jonathan Dixon will round out our top 15. Leads us into Colby Collins P16, Lynn Kitch. Oh my goodness. I'm going to have to give that one another shot. So Lynn in P17, Kyle Smith, Neverlift Smith in P18, Nate Franklin P19, Benjamin Cox P20. And to round out our remaining group here, Daniel Bartz P21, Alex Cofford P22, John Patrick P23, Mark Antonucci P24, Brandon Scholhoff P25, Ryan Verholstein P26, and Riley Wayans on track in a position that he has not put down a lap yet, David.
Yep, so 26 cars with a qualifying time on the board, and as you mentioned, Riley Wyans not out there with one yet, might still be able to make the start. We'll see. 40 seconds left of this session before we move on towards the race. And one of the things I've heard is that bump drafting these cars is possible. The slipstream is very strong, but if your car touches the outside wall, that is where you'll pick up a little bit of damage. So you don't want to be going to and doing that. The pit sequence for these cars is fuel and then tires. So if we have a caution, and we probably will at some point, it's more than likely, be very interesting to see strategy-wise, what people end up deciding on doing. Pretty durable tyres, but of course, with an oval caution, fresh tyres are always pretty good. So time runs out on qualifying, and soon they'll all be taking to the grid for the pace lap and will be going green shortly. But lots of unknowns going into this race, Aaron, and it'll be a good one to watch.
I agree, David. I'm glad you mentioned the buff drafting because this car, with that fantastic American design ingenuity, has a very pointy rear bumper, and the front of this car is also a bit pointy. So that bump draft could be a bit dangerous if you get it just a tad wrong. Unfortunately, we are not seeing Tom Ellison on track tonight, and he is usually our first pitter for pretty much every single race, David. So we're not going to fully understand how early you can possibly pit because unfortunately tonight we are lacking Tom Ellison. However, we do have let's see, where is our favorite circle man, Jordan Babcock? Where is he tonight, David? I'm scrolling down the field and I'm not seeing him. Do you see him?
He's starting in 5th place, so he'll be on the inside of row 3. And of course, that's what a lot of our viewers want to know, all of our Babs Nation viewers out there. So thanks to them for tuning in. He's in a good spot to make a good run. And one thing to talk about with the weather and the time of day, it's 8:30 p.m. in session, and sort of mid-May in Michigan. So a little bit of light still in the skies, but with an hour race, I assume it's going to be pretty well pitch black by the time we get to the end of this race. And I don't think we've got any floodlights for this circuit, so this will be an interesting one, racing in the dark.
Racing in the dark, indeed. And these guys are going to become, these guys will be very lucky with that very cool track already at 77 degrees Fahrenheit and that sun going down to keep this track nice and cool. Because, David, my goodness, does this car absolutely eat up tires. So that cool track will hopefully help that out a little bit. But these guys still need to be careful not dropping too much angle on that wheel. And it looks like our second place driver was having a bit of a difficulty getting off there. It looks like Alex Albert got the car started. David, but it's also be fair to mention, with the new iRacing system, you can stall these cars. So these guys do go into a spin. David, don't forget to put that clutch in tonight because otherwise you may find yourself a sitting duck on the track.
That's what it looked like to me. My thoughts as well was maybe he went to put it in first gear and he's gone and stalled it, taking him a second to find the starter. And of course, these cars do have an onboard starter. He's away and he'll form that outside line. And Antonio Alvarez, a driver we're always talking about, moving up through the field and not qualifying very well. Well, he is on pole. So I'm hoping for good things from him, hoping for a clean run from everyone. They're on the back stretch now. When they come through turns 3 and 4, that Mustang pace car will pull on down, and it will be Antonio Alvarez who decides when they go. I'm hoping we get a lot of green running early. Be interesting to see what these drivers do with the slipstream, with the tires, with the fuel consumption. It's all on the line. 60 minutes of racing will start very soon.
Very soon, David. And I don't entirely know how important lines are going to be here. These cars do have a decent aero package of them, so these guys should be able to run almost anywhere they want to, but they will probably prove me wrong in a very short time. David, we're about to go green.
Yeah, pace car in. Antonio holds them, still holding. He's really packing the pace, stacking the pack up. Green flag waves, of course, so, and he does get a good jump there. They're 2 wide behind Romano and Peters. Pretty clean start from everyone. 3 wide back in the pack, but it's a wide circuit, and the banking means that the high line can work, the low line can work. Now 3 wide for the lead. Giovanni Romano, your points leader, your defending champion, dives it to the inside. He wants to get there, but Alex Albert is the winner through all of that. He's now to the lead. Romano second, Alvarez third, and they're basically still 2 wide the whole way round as well. Albert tries to chop down on Romano, and he'll get that done, but the high line is now where Alvarez is going to try and make some work. Still green after 1 lap.
Good job, everybody behaving themselves. And David, I am a quick study of Mr. Jordan Babcock. I'm watching him. He is hugging that bottom line like it's his favorite pillow, and he's just not letting go of it. As we watch Antonio Alvarez drop down. Oh, excuse me, Antonio Alvarez is on the high side. We have Giovanni Romano is up in front of us. So right now, that bottom line that Jordan Babcock is running appears to be very favorable. He's now dropped up to the top side here, and Antonio Alvarez has fallen back. Antonio Alvarez is going to take a peek to the inside, but he's likely just going to ride along. So, David, again, the Babs Nation is out here tonight, and it looks like Jordan Babcock is looking to give everybody a quick lesson of maybe that bottom line, maybe prefer to see goes, whoa. Oh, David, it always makes me nervous to watch this guy see that, but they're going to ride that outside wall as much as they can. But Babs Nation is definitely excited for his early success here, up 2 spots already.
Yeah, Albert and Romano were starting to get away a little bit, but now Babcock, Alvarez, Lemons, those are your 3rd, 4th, and 5th place runners starting to get in a line. This is going to be pack racing, I think, the whole way. Someone's in the outside wall in turn 2, keeps it going. We stay green, but presumably they've damaged their car. As now that's 5th place. Lemons throws it to the inside of Alvarez. Will try and get to the inside of Babcock as well. Albert still leads from Romano and his customary two-tone purple car. This is pretty close racing, and right behind them I see 3 wide over the stripe, but everyone keeping it green, keeping it racing, and 3 wide I think can work here, because if you come in on the outside into turn 1, you can stay up high. You don't have to try and squeeze down. There's not that conflict. There's not that pressure between the cars. They are 3 wide coming into the corner. They can hold it 3 wide cleanly the whole way through. Babcock is going to try and make a challenge for the lead, I think, Aaron.
Yeah, Babcock, as I said, David, he is studying that bottom line, and my goodness, it appears to be really work for him, and we've seen the track light up here as the headlights have gone on in these cars. Let's keep an eye on this, David, but I'm taking a quick look down the field. We've got some big gainers so far. Benjamin Cox is up 6 positions, and also as well, Riley Wayans is up 8 positions, so that backfield, David, is there lots of action here. Jordan Babcock continues to hug that bottom line. He's got Giovanni Romano on the outside. Looks like Giovanni is going to hold that position, and Justin Lammers is going to fall in line. Ooh, is Babcock falling a bit out of favor with the draft here? He's going to need a partner. He's looking for some help from Flamian, but Flamian is going to dive back inside, David. Looks like these guys are settled in right now. Just several minutes into this race, but wow, this is actually some pretty exciting pack racing, David, for a very unique combination.
Yeah, we've done very, very well to get the racing we've got right now. That's 5 laps in the books for your leaders. Still Alex Albert leading, Romano in 2nd, and here comes Justin Lamans to try and throw it down the inside. Nothing happens there, and Devin Peters has worked his way back to 4th place, and he comes up just in front of Jordan Babcock. Lucky to not be any contact there. Still 2 wide, a lot of shuffling of positions behind them. Lamans once again will try and go to the inside on Giovanni Romano. I think he can throw the car down, try and come up in front of Romano. Well, not sure Romano will be too happy about that one, but that's the way this racing, I think, is going to go, because the slipstream's looking very strong. Multiple lines look like they're working through the corners, but they can't take the corners flat. They've got to breathe the throttle at least a little bit. So that looks like how positions might be made. Throw it down the inside, keep the throttle wide until the mid-corner, and then block the exit run of the person you're trying to race.
Indeed, a very scary moment for Giovanni Romano a few laps ago. As Justin Lamans went very high and almost hit the outside wall. Giovanni Romano had a huge checkup. And David, unfortunately, we've already seen our first wall incident. Benjamin Cox, about 2 laps ago, smacked the outside wall, David. He is now in the pits, likely early taking that fast repair. So he was a big gainer, but he is dropping back quick. But however, our big gainer, Ryan Waylands, is up 15 spots already, David. He's working his way up. But my goodness, is this front battle pot.
Layman's trying to pull the same move on Albert, and behind that they were 3 wide. Babs Nation on the inside, Romano in the middle, Devin Peters up high, and Alex Albert grabs the lead back, and Babcock drops some spots on the inside. Didn't get a good run off turn 2. The high line looking quite strong now, presumably as the outside tires start to wear. Lamans is going to try and get the lead this time, but I think he doesn't get the run off the corner, and Albert gets his nose back in there. It's 2 wide, 3 deep, then Babcock makes it 3 wide. Romano in the inside again. And who's that out behind? Could even be Austin Burdick. As things are right now, though, the pack very, very close together. Still anyone's race, even if the likes of Lehman's and Austin Burdick have moved up quite a few spots. Lehman's is going to the inside once again.
Yeah, he really is. Babs Nation is probably on their feet right now because he's slicing and dicing back here. He has moved his way to that top line. I think early on that bottom line when those tires were cold, that worked out really well. But right now it appears that front line is working. As you watch Justin Lamons have a very hard time coming off a turn before coming into the tri-oval. Just that car slides a whole lot and wants to go after that outside wall with that bottom line right now. So, David, these guys possibly could be waiting for this track to heat up just a little bit. Maybe cool down that right front tire because it is screaming with that monstrous V8 up in the front, which weighs a whole bunch of weight. And so these guys are just slowly falling down. And David, these straight line work here. No, Jordan Babcock refuses to stay in line. He wants to run his own line. So Bab Nation, man, they are on their feet right now, David. They want to see some action out of this guy early on.
Exactly, and of course a car like this doesn't look after the tires probably quite as well as a real oval car would. You can't camber the inside tires like you would on an oval car. The suspension it's a road car suspension setup. Of course, they've done the best for the oval configuration, the tire pressures and all that, but still all of that will mean that your outside tires will begin to wear down. And to talk about this pack, we had 27 cars start this race. We've got 23 still in our leading pack. Nothing to separate them just yet. And a great bit of green flag racing we have had that I think will probably still continue as the higher grooves get more viable deeper into the race.
Yeah, Justin Hall is just really looking for opportunity here. He's had a very close battle with Jordan Babcock, but Alex Albert is holding very, very strong up on the front here with some very stiff competition from Justin Lamons. And Devin Peters, I think, is also being very patient. So these guys right now are being very patient with their lines, and I think Justin Hall is just waiting for an opportunity to let these guys maybe be a little too aggressive, work their tires, and is hoping for a very good run. Because, David, we're only 10 minutes into this race.
Yeah, exactly. Riley Wyans was started from the back of the pack, making some really good moves. He's now in the pit lane, taking his fast repair because he clearly had some rather heavy contact with the outside wall. I didn't see what the contact was, but his right-hand side was not looking good when he came into the pit lane. He's going to go at least one lap down now. He'll be praying to pick up a lucky dog.
Yeah, praying, and we're keeping a close eye on Jordan Babcock. As right now, he's getting passed by Chris Flamian. Flamian, no, Babs is gonna hold out. You think he's got a little better line coming off of NASCAR 2 there. And this outside line has got a very good run coming off this corner, checking up just a little bit. Flamian also being patient. David, you watch these guys. If you watch that exhaust, that flame coming out of the exhaust, you see when these guys are having to lift and being a little responsible when they are in line. Chris Flamian is looking very hungry on that bottom line, but I just don't know if that's the preferred line right now. As you watch Devin Peters dash up in front of Jordan Babcock to make sure that he stays with that outside line. And right now, Alex Albert is potentially a piece of lunch meat with this not the preferred line over this next sectors.
Blue and yellow HJ car for Alex Albert. On the outside of him there is Justin Lehman's third place. Oh, Babcock with contact. He's in the sandwich. And that's our first big wreck. Surely that'll be a caution. Indeed, the caution comes out. We had a great green flag run, 13 laps. Jordan Babcock, his engine looks done. He just got sandwiched between Flamian and Peters. And I think we're going to get a replay of what caused that one.
Yeah, that's just really unfortunate. Yeah, it just looks like Babcock was riding in the middle. Flamian started to come up the track just a little bit, and Devin Peters is right on the outside there. It looks like, Flamian and Babcock are going for the same lane, and just as a big instance. So quite a few cars involved in this, David. We're going to see a whole string of some fast repairs and possibly some pit strategy and some fueling beginning right now.
Philip Linden, also one of the cars that got damaged in that, got caught up in that incident. But thankfully with these cars that know how to turn right, when there is an incident, it's a little bit easier in these for the drivers behind to try and avoid it. Hasn't been perfect though. So under caution for the first time, quite a few drivers coming down onto pit road now to try and fix their damage. We'll have to see next time around who decides this is time to change tires, who decides on a a pit stop and who will stay out. I imagine at least our top 5 would probably stay out at this point. Would you expect?
I think that'd probably be a good strategy for these guys. But David, my goodness, we are seeing some big gainers in the field with that. So right now, pretty much everybody outside of our top 5 is almost up 7 positions or more. So some really big gainers. Oh, and my goodness, David, I am totally wrong as we are watching Alex Albert and Justin Lemons both going down pit lane right now.
They must be feeling those tires in the first stint. That's the only reason they'd give up the track position, is if they knew the tires were absolutely going away from them. And just about everyone does come into the pit lane, a very, very busy place to be right now. Only cars I see staying out is Colby Collins and the lap down cars that can't come into the pit lane this time by. So very, very popular right now is to get a new set of boots on. If we have another couple of cautions and they started with a full tank of fuel, then I'm not sure they'll have to take on board too much fuel, but it's definitely something to think about. And winning the race off pit lane has been Justin Lemons. Then Romano has jumped Alex Albert through that, and Peters come out behind.
Yeah, David, there's a whole string of pit stops here, and I think these guys are really looking to get rid of some of those ills with that first pit stop. So tons of tires right now and tons of fuel. I think we're going to really have to watch these guys as this pit strategy has already begun. But can they survive for another 47 minutes?
Yeah, so run it down, your order. Colby Collins, the only car on the lead lap not to pit. Probably expecting him to be just a little bit of a sitting duck. Justin Lemons now second, Romano third, Albert fourth, Devin Peters in fifth. Some of the lap down cars now have the opportunity to pit, and into the lane does come one of those drivers. Colby Collins, yeah, deciding now to come into the pit lane. That's an interesting one. So Lemons resumes the lead of the race. Just about everyone deciding tires an absolute necessity at this point. Nearly a quarter of the race time in the books.
Nearly a quarter of a race time in the book. And David, I'm trying to check the rules here. Is there a lucky dog tonight? So if anybody is just on the tail's edge of this, there is a lucky dog tonight. So I'm trying to see who is the beneficiary of that lucky dog. So it looks like Rogers, David, is going to grab himself a lucky dog.
So a lot of cars getting waved back around onto the lead lap, which is good for the racing. And I only see 3 cars now that aren't on the lead lap. Those being Benjamin Cox, Jordan Babcock, unfortunately, and Jonathan Dixon. Just about the other 24 or so cars are on the lead lap. Lights are out on the pace car. Will be going green again very, very soon. And it's sort of a reset for everyone, because now all the packs have been joined back up again. Everyone is on fresh tires. Everyone has the same tire life. And we just start it all over again. Pace car is in. I'm watching from on board with Alex Albert, and Lemons has jumped pretty well early. Green flag is in the air. Romano in second and Albert in third, trying to close them up.
Yeah, there goes. And Giovanni Romano was on the outside line, very close to Justin Lemons. I'm trying to figure out where these guys are going to go. Alex Albert is diving inside. He's got those fresh tires. He remembers Jordan Babcock was very much favoring that inside line with the fresh tires, and Alex Albert is looking to make that work with the first half lap here. He's on the inside. He is by himself, so Giovanni Romano is on the preferred line right now, but he's got himself a friend. Devin Peters' size.
Caution is out again. So yellows breed yellows. That's exactly what they say. And we got a great big bunch of green running in the early part of this race. Now we've, on that restart, had another yellow. What's caused that?
Yeah, it looks like Ryan Verhulst was just trying to come down and had some contact with Rob Hopp, and that was just a whole slew of guys that just got into a huge mess. And my goodness, a whole nother bunch of cars there with a very big issue.
So watching from Jordan Babcock of that incident that happened, and it looks to me like Verhulst has just been given a little tap on the bumper on the exit of the corner. That's upset his car, given him a wiggle into another, and Jordan Babcock once again, the innocent party. Babs Nation, F's in chat, please, for your boy. That's kind of what you get restarting deep in the pack, though. When there's an incident in front of you, you only have so much time to react to it, and that does bring out our second yellow of the race very, very quickly.
Yeah, it really does, and that's an unfortunate. So yeah, as you said, David, you're in the back part of that pack there. You're really going to get yourself in trouble with some of those cars have some issues. So my goodness, Babs Nation is having a very hard time tonight.
So you'd assume almost everyone would stay out, seeing as they'd not even done a full green lap on their new set of tyres. Only a couple cars I see on pit lane, and most of them probably either to try and fit in another splash of fuel, or they had nothing to lose, or they had to repair damage. Basically, everyone in your top 10, the order stays the same. They all stay out of the pit lane this time.
Yeah, looks like these guys, we're probably going to have, lights are still on the cars. It looks like we're going to have one more lap. Everybody kind of get themselves all sorted out here.
Having a look at some of our big movers, because of course in a race like this where the packs have been so close, we've had a lot of movers and shakers up and down the field. Antonio Alvarez, our pole man, he's down in 13th place now. He's still on the lead lap. He's still in the pack. It's not over for him. But some of our big gainers, Lynn Kinchelo's up 11. Nate Franklin is up 11 in 8th place. Daniel Bartz is up 12 in 9th. Good for him. John Patrick started 23rd, now running in 11th. So he's up 12 spots. Lots of, as I said, movers and shakers up and down the field, especially in that first big green flag batch of running we had. Packs were so close, and if you could make moves this lap, then the next lap, then a lap after, there was a lot to be won and lost through that. We're going to go green hopefully soon, and my fingers are crossed that we can stay green once again. As they cross the line, lights go out on the pace car. Will be going green in 2 miles time. It's Michigan International Speedway, a 2-mile circuit, and it provides a great sort of intermediate between. There's a lot of 1.5 mile oval circuits out there now. People get maybe a little tired of them, and then the super speedways at 2.5 miles. The plate tracks like that. This is sort of halfway between those two. It's an interesting dynamic of racing for these cars. You alive or got an opinion on that one, Aaron? Evidently not. So, on the backstretch, going green soon. Justin Lehman's leading your pack. Behind him, it's got lots of people looking to take that away from him. A single file restarts, hoping that if we get one green lap on the board after this restart, that green laps will continue to follow. But I think some of the patience the drivers had in the first 5 laps, they're not quite have so much now, because we are 1/3 done, 2/3 to go. Pace car peels on down. Lehman's, when will he go? He jumps now. Albert follows with him there. Romano behind. And Aaron, I hope we've got you now. Maybe not. So Justin Lehman's leads the pack behind 4th and 5th. Very, very close. Devin Peters having to defend from Burdick. They're too wide behind, but the pack's all spread out a little bit on the restart. It'll close back up. The slipstream is very, very powerful around here. even our top 6 cars, by the time they get to turn 3, there's nothing to separate them. Albert's looking at the rear bumper of Lehman's to try and get the lead, gets it down to the inside, but his nose is at the rear quarter of Justin Lehman's. That's a dangerous place for our leader to have a car behind. But Albert slots back in, and it's getting darker out there. The headlights illuminating the track more solidly. A little bit of a bump, the bump draft now coming out. Alex Albert showing Justin Lehman's that he is there. Romano on the middle line, Albert up high. All of the different lines coming in, but all of these cars with still relatively new tyres. Albert will go to the inside, 3 and 4 now. And Romano, Peters and Burdick watch on. And Peters decides he wants to come on through into the top 3. He'll try and get to the inside of Lehman's as well, and they both go up very, very high. A little bit of a bump there. And fiercely fought for the lead. Albert has to chop down a little bit to try and stop Peters trying to make it 3 wide, but he'll try anyway. And on the high line is Lehman's. Albert still leads, and Peters doing whatever he can to try and work his way to the front. Early goings. Got a bit of a 5-car breakaway, and then in 6th, Lynn Kinchelow leads them single file. Nate Franklin, Justin Hall, Daniel Bartz, and then a little bit of a gap behind that to the cars further down. Daniel Bart's trying to throw it to the inside now as well, and they're too wide for your leading pack, and if they do that, it provides all of the slipstream opportunity for the cars behind to stay with them.
Yeah, hey, David, I apologize. I am back. Had a small technical issue there. Appreciate you carrying the weight here. But my goodness, this front pack has really kind of broken away. These guys are really probably trying to work their magic to keep away from Nate and Lynn Kalochi. We're watching the first 2 go too wide right now. So these guys, I'm wrong. Oh, and he drops right back in line. So Justin Lehman's is looking to keep that. But however, Devin Peters is still looking very hungry. Ooh, very defensive line by Alex Albert there. That's going to be give himself a bit of trouble coming into NASCAR 3 and 4. May not get
and someone's around in the background, and that brings the yellow out. That might have been Burdick. I'm not sure. Or
and Antonio Alvarez, David, unfortunately.
Indeed, so get a replay of how that one happened as we are now under caution. I'll take a look at it myself. How do you see how that one happened, Aaron?
Yeah, David, it looks like just Antonio Alvarez had the outside line. Kyle Smith looking for advantageous. Antonio Alvarez just looks like surprised Alex Smith by lifting a little bit early, and unfortunately just got right into that right rear, and unfortunately it is all over for both of those guys. That was a very hard hit by Antonio Alvarez.
Yeah, so contact Kyle Smith and Antonio Alvarez, and maybe Kyle Smith is just expecting Alvarez to stay higher. Alvarez wasn't quite sure where that car was down low to his inside. So that's very unfortunate for our pole setter Alvarez. We're under caution right now as he managed to get that thing. Well, he's still going, and he'll probably pit and hopefully be able to get that repaired. I've heard that if your damage is just the front bumper or something, even if without a fast repair, you might be able to get it fixed without losing the lead lap. That's going to be important, I would suspect, because we've had 3 cautions now, not at the halfway point, expecting a few more. So only a few drivers coming into the pits this time. Flamion, Schulhoff, Rob Hopp, Andrew Fawcett, Colby Collins, Mark Antonucci, Lynn Kinchelow, Albert, Peters, Lamons, Romano, they're still out, probably waiting for the pits to open for the leaders. I'm not sure what point we are in the pacing.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. Not sure either, David, but my goodness, it is so disappointing to see 2 real fan favorites, Jordan Babcock and Babs Nation, and unfortunately Kyle Neverlift Smith having 2 pretty big incidents early on in this race. So unfortunately those 2 big fan bases are going to be a bit disappointed tonight, but the rest of the fans are really going to enjoy some fantastic racing as we are seeing some more strategy play out with a lot of cars looking to take a pit. So right now the top 11 have stayed out. Philip Linden is the last non-one stopper. So David, we're going to have to keep an eye on this. Maybe these guys could come back around. Alex Smith, he is driving that train. If he comes in, I don't know why these other guys wouldn't come in too.
Yeah, even without any aero push and on brand new tires, can't really keep the throttle pinned around the corners. This is a circuit that's using up the tires, and where the more grip you've got, the faster you go. Slightly different to some of the 2.5 milers in that way. So certainly, if you put a new set of tires on, there's an advantage, an immediate advantage to that, not just deeper in the stint. So Albert on front stretch now, and he is still out. So looks like that's the prevailing strategy right now. Lights still on the pace car, and they go out now. Your point, Aaron, where...
Yeah, I was just going to say, David, yeah, the lights just went out there. But unfortunately, Chris Flamian, he is in for his second stop, and then, as well as Antonio Alvarez, David. So we know Chris Flamian has unfortunately already taken his fast repair, so he has been in the pits for over 2 minutes. So he was running extremely well inside the top 10 early on in the race, but 2 quick incidents, and Flamian is unfortunately probably done, David, and I just don't know if there's any recovering from that. But Alex Albert, Devin Peters, Justin Lamons, and Giovanni Romano, these guys have been battling since the initial green flag drop, and so I think we're really going to have to pay attention to Ryan Whalens in that P12. And early on, David, we have seen that the first couple laps in this car, you were extremely quick. So I'm going to keep a close eye on sector times with pretty much everyone from P12 all the way back, because those guys are on some fresh rubber, possibly fueled up as well. David, we have just under 33 minutes left in this race, so I really suspect that bottom group is possibly ready to go to the end. So Alex Albert and Devin Peters, IndyCar, start thinking about that big old pack behind that's going to have a whole load of steam here for about 3 or 4 laps.
Yep, so the pace car's about to come on down. Alex Albert, when will he decide to jump? He's keeping that pack up high. He's got Devin Peters right behind him. Those two are in the hunt for the title, along with Giovanni Romano and with Nate Franklin. Alex Albert's got to think about that, and he jumps. They're away. 32 minutes left on the board. Alex Albert leads from Devin Peters and Justin Lemons.
Yeah, he goes a fantastic start by Alex Albert. He just really baited the crew, and as soon as the opportunity went, he went for it. So we're all going to see these guys dive down, as they all know that first couple laps of grip is going to be on that bottom side, and Devin Peters is looking to make a run here. Be careful, boys. Alex Albert giving him a little straightaway push, making sure he's not going to get the preferred line, but my goodness, it doesn't look like Devin Peters is going to make this stick. If he can ride that bottom line, David, he's going to lead himself a lap here. It looks like he needs to slide up right now. If he can get that slide job finished on Alex Albert, he needs to do it. He's done it. Oh, but Alex Albert is still staying up there. So Alex will lose a lead point on that one. But Devin Peters, wow, strong line there.
Yep. Bold move to get to the lead, but the track is not narrow by any stretch of the imagination. There's no way he can block out Alex Albert, who gets just a nose ahead now, running great pace around the outside of 1 and 2, and just gets ahead of Peters before 3 and 4. You had your eye on Riley Wyans, who is the lead car of the ones who took fresh tyres at that most recent caution. He's only moved his way up into 10th. It'll be one to watch, him along with Alex Coffard and such. But the lead right now, Devin Peters has got his nose back down to the inside, and Lemons, Romano, Austin Burdick are right there. Peters grabs the lead again. Albert tries to keep it high. Lemons, Romano, and Burdick all try and follow Peters on the low line and then track up high. Great battling for the lead. Albert gets the nose in front again, and now Lemons is going to try and follow the high line through 3 and 4. Hasn't quite worked out, and this battling for the top 5 has brought 6th place Nate Franklin in. He's a title contender. He'd like a great result here tonight, and he's part of that lead battle. Just watching, waiting. They're too wide for the lead once again. This time Peters is on the high line. Albert is on the low line, and behind them, Justin Lamons is keeping it very, very low. Hopefully going to try and get a good exit. That's what he's aiming for. And Austin Burdick's going to try and take a spot away from Romano. Great battling up the front.
Yeah, David, I'm really glad you mentioned Nate Franklin there, because he is exactly 7 points behind Giovanni Romano. So Nate Franklin has every reason to be very aggressive with only 2 races left in this season, this being one of those 2. So Nate Franklin has had a very good race. He is up 13 spots, David, so it's not like he's been up here the entire time. He's been very strategic with his racing and very strategic with his lines. He's also part of that one pit stop crew. So right now, Ryan Whalens is working his way up to P9. He's one of those 2 stoppers, so he is coming. But Nate Franklin is watching out for Giovanni Romano, as he is in title contention right now. And Giovanni Romano running very strong in P5 in that purple number 99 car.
Here comes Lemons all the way down to the inside, trying to put one on Alex Albert. Can't do it. They were nearly 3 wide there. I think that compromises the exit for Lemons. Now he's got Romano behind, looking to make a move. Devin Peters leads another lap. Alex Albert will throw it to the inside this time, though. Presumably try and track it up high as he can, but he has to breathe the throttle a little bit to get the car to turn through there. Now, behind Lemons, Burdick, Romano. Franklin on the outside of Romano is going to try and grab that spot. That's critical for the title. This top 8 as a pack now, very, very close. 2 wide, 3 deep, and Bartz and Hall on the back, just watching, waiting. The leaders so close at the stripe, but Devin Peters will lead another lap. Got Alex Albert on his inside. Austin Burdick has now moved his way pretty definitively up into 3rd there. Is he going to try and throw it all the way down low, make him 3 wide? I think he's going to do just that. Probably won't get a good exit off of there. Lemons will, and it's basically a box for the lead here. Will the bump draft come out this time? Yes, it will. Lemons gives a bit of a bump to Peters to try and advance that high line. And they're fighting ferociously now. 27 minutes to go. The top 8 pack. They're getting the bumpers out. They're getting the elbows out. And this is great to watch.
Yeah, David, I am no NASCAR expert, but my goodness, that was a very, very dangerous bump by Justin Lemons on Devin Peters coming into NASCAR at 3 and 4, because likely Devin Peters was getting ready to lift off the throttle, and Justin Lemons gave him a bump right at the end. And we're watching the front 2 here. Oh my goodness, Alex Albert having with a big lift and very loose as Devin Peters slams the door coming out of NASCAR 2. He's likely not going to be pleased with that move, but Devin Peters let him know that this was my spot and I am keeping it. However, Justin Lemons likely has the preferred line right here coming into NASCAR 3 and 4. Coming into the Tri Bowl, does he have enough speed to steal away a lap? No, he does not. Devin Peters is going to be very strong on that outside line, and David, we could be going 3 wide again.
Yep. I think that's Austin Burdick showing that he's got no qualms about making it 3 wide. He wants to get to the lead. Fortunately, the tires are wearing out and you just can't carry the momentum down low, but he tried, and as they do that, the pack behind that the top 8 had gotten away from is getting closer. In 9th place is those fresher tires of Riley Wyans. We're still watching the front pack because this has gotten just crazier and crazier since the restart. They were all a little patient initially, but now we've got some green flag running under the belt. Now the tires are warming up. They're trying every this, every that. They've stayed 1 wide. They've stayed single file behind, and that's why that pack is catching up the front here for the lead. No one's bothered about trying to maintain the status quo. Everyone wants to get to the front.
That's definitely what's going on here. And it looks like, I'm just going to say, Ryan Wayans, Brian Beeman, and John Patrick, there may be some, and Alex Copper, there may be some in-race communication going on. Say, guys, stay in a straight line. We can catch these guys. And my goodness, David, it looks like through the try over here, if they can hook up with that draft, this pack has likely done it. And our top 12 are going to pretty much, top 13 are going to pretty much be on top of each other.
You have to go all the way back to about 20th place before there's more than a second separating the cars. It's all there's a word I'm looking for, that's not combobulated, it's coagulated into one pack. I finally found that word. It took me half a lap. So up the front, Alex Albert leads what's now a big train, and they're 2 wide, 2 deep behind him. Peters on the outside, Romano on the inside immediately behind, and then behind that is Burdick on the low line, Lemons in the red car on the high line, behind that Nate Franklin, and then behind that Daniel Bartz, then Justin Hall. So close, nothing to pick for the lead, and Peters nearly gets a bump from Albert, but they keep it clean, they keep it green. And I don't know quite where to look inside the top 10, because that's what the pack is now. Your top 10, nothing to separate them. And Riley Wyans, you must assume, is in a position to be able to pounce 4 laps newer tires.
Yeah, I bet he is. David, I'm getting very nervous with the driving behavior of Justin Lemons and Austin Burdick here. Both these guys have had 2 very big checkup moments there in G-Bond. Oh, and a big slash across the front bumper of Alex Albert on Justin Lemons, again letting him know. But David, these guys are getting aggressive. We still have 23 minutes left in this race, but these guys are likely feeling a little dicey with these tires getting a little loose, probably struggling for grip. There's a bit of frustration right now, and the draft is so beneficial. G-Bond in Monterey has a big drift up into Ryan Whalens, and Ryan Whalens, my goodness, is he on charge, up 23 spots from the start of this race.
Yep, no qualifying for him, makes him not eligible for the Dick Insider hard charger. Probably not because he didn't want to qualify. I think he arrived a little bit too late, and the stewards generously still let him race. But Justin Lemons has worked his way to the lead. He's got Peters on the outside with a good run. 2 wide behind him is Albert and Burdick. And it looks like as the tyres wear off, the cars can race a lot closer than they can on new tyres. That makes this a lot different to something like the Indy cars.
I really think so, and obviously the Indy cars have a mass benefit from a significantly larger... Oh, and Ryan Whalens taking a look, possibly going to give Alex Albert a push. David, we're going to have 3 wide going into the corner here. Ryan Whalens, my goodness, David, he is looking to gain 1 more spot, up 26 positions to potentially take the lead, and Alex Albert says, no, you cannot have that spot there. But David, he's going to come to the line and try and grab that position spot. If he can do it, David, this is a heck of a run. He's done it. He's led that lap. Ryan Whalens, up 26 spots tonight, has led his first lap on lap number 43 tonight. Wow, what a drive.
Yeah, he's moved from 12th place to the lead almost as aggressively as you've moved the letter L from his first name into his last name. But Riley Wyans, I love you, Aaron, is now leading the race, getting a bit of a bump from Devin Peters. So that strategy to take those tyres clearly working out for him, and he's obviously a bit of a new name to us in Reddit iRacing League, but I think he knows his way around an oval. I would suggest that much. And now Albert back to the inside, and it's getting dark out there. The headlights is in the pack is all of the light. We've got 3 wide for the lead, 4 wide behind. What more do you want?
Well, David, I'll tell you what I do want. I want to be able to say Riley Wyans' name correctly. How about that? I appreciate you always correcting me, David. His names are always very difficult. But, David, what I'm really starting to see here is these guys, these rear tires, I think that right rear is really starting to go away, which we're seeing, best lap times for these cars are about a 41.1, and right now these guys are doing about a 41.9, so they're definitely losing front grip. But, however, I believe the car is getting looser with the rear. And they were, 3 wide. Oh, my goodness, we're done. When we get Riley Wyans has again made a very aggressive move and got past Devin Peters to solidify another spot. He's on the very highest. But as I was saying, I think these cars are getting a little loose in the rear, which may be giving us some stronger drive off the corner. But at the same time, they're probably losing the grip as well. Oh, Alex Albert, very loose right there. David, everybody's checking up, and my goodness, is this a cluster?
Yeah, exactly. If your rear tires are wearing out, if your car's becoming a bit oversteery, that's when you'd expect the high line might work a little bit better. Riley Wyans now with as much lead as anyone's had in a long time. Nothing to separate the top 15 here. Alex Albert still second. Devin Peters on the high line in third. And then Justin Lemons, I think, has 4th place. Behind that, I wouldn't want to hazard a guess, but I can see Nate Franklin in there. I can see Giovanni Romano in it. So now 3 wide in the middle of the pack there. Is it going to be a little bit of contact? They all just get away with it. Riley Wyans nearly turned himself on Justin Lemons, gets away with it. Now it's Romano, Lemons, potentially Burdick with 3 wide down the backstretch. So many names to call because they're just all there. Can this stay green for another 20 minutes? I don't want to put any curse on it. I want it to stay green. But really, with how sketchy the cars are getting, with how often they're going 3 wide, and with how close they're battling, you're just waiting for the big one at this stage. They're just so close.
Yeah, it's extremely aggressive. And I'm watching, David, and keeping a close eye on another two-stopper, Lynn Kinchelow in P5 right now, in that blue number 44. He is another two-stopper, and he has worked his way right up to Riley Wyans, who's also a two-stopper, David. So right now, these two-stop cars are making their way. And our next closest one is Alex Cofford, who is now taking the P11 spot away from Justin Hall. So the two-stoppers are working their way up right now, but Alex Albert and Devin Peters are one-stoppers. They're holding strong. So I don't know if the advantage is that big, but I think the way these guys have moved up the field and maybe have a little more option when it comes to grip, possibly mid and late corner. But wow, 3 wide again. We've got Lynn Kinchelow, Giovanni Romano, and Austin Burdick. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, all going 3 wide here. Oh, very close with the number 8 of Justin Lamons and Brian. Oh, David, I'm sorry. I'm losing these names. These guys are changing positions so fast, my scoreboard can't keep up.
Yeah, if you just throw any name out there, they're probably in this pack, so that's fine. And my heart can barely keep up either, because now they're 2 wide, 3 deep for the lead of the race. And I want to talk really quickly about fuel, because those guys have only done 1 stop. If we get green flag racing all the way to the end, I can't talk about that. They're 4 wide. They are 4 wide for the lead of this motor race. Alex Albert still has the lead. I think the likes of Lynn Kinchelow and Justin Lamons have to back out of it just a little bit. Now they're only 3 wide. We can relax, but maybe about 50 minutes is possible on a road course with a full tank of fuel in this car. Here on the oval, the front stretch, the back stretch, they're right up against the rev limiter most of the way. So I imagine we're thinking maybe 35 green minutes to a full tank of fuel in this car. Some of those guys have only pitted once. If this stays green, might have to worry about fuel, whereas someone like our 2 stoppers, Riley Wyans in 4th, Lynn Kinchelow in 5th, they might not have to worry if it's that close. We'll have to wait and see. But as it is, I don't know where to look at this lead pack.
I really don't know either, Dave. Let's keep a look on this front pack here, but I want to make a quick note. Nate Franklin has fallen all the way back to P15. David, I'm trying to see if there's damage. He has a slightly bent right rear wing, so David, he may have had some contact with the outside wall, or possibly some contact working with that very aggressive pack. So Nate Franklin, our number 2 point setter right now, is unfortunately dropped all the way back to P15 when at one point he was battling for a potential podium spot. So Nate Franklin, let's keep an eye on that, David, with just over 16 minutes left in this race. He's got a lot of ground to gain with Giovanni Romano in a very strong P6. Nate Franklin does not want that much of a points gap going into. A little
bit of contact in the middle of the field. I can't see quite who it was. They stay green. Everyone stays pointing the correct way. They're 3 wide for the lead. Devin Peters shoving himself to the middle of the pack. Has Giovanni Romano try and follow him through. Lamons is still to the low side. Albert is all the way up high and trying to sneak his way back through is our favorite Riley Wyans. He's got a white and black car. He gets chopped down by Lynn Kinchelow, though. Everywhere you look at the top group here, it is action. Devin Peters leads. 16 minutes to go. They're 3 wide behind for a second there. I'm stressing out.
David, we almost saw the big one coming through the try over there. Lynn Kinchelow gave Devin Peters a massive hit going into NASCAR 3 and 4, and Devin Peters with a fantastic effort up on the wheel to make sure that car did not go around, but that would have been a massive wreck in front of this very, very tight field. So Lynn Kinchelow is ready for some positions, but I don't know that Devin Peters was ready to give it up in that manner. So Lynn Kinchelow has been very dicey and a bit possibly too aggressive. So right now he's settled back in Giovanni Romano, who again is our points leader, way in front of Nate Franklin. So these two are, another big checkup. David, I think these tires are done with these cars with just over 15 minutes left. I think there's some very responsible driving that needs to happen in order for us to go green the rest of this race.
Yeah, and this is some of the best, I think, driving we've seen, driving standards-wise in Reddit iRacing League in quite a while. There are so many ways this could have gone wrong much earlier than it has. And the fact that we're still green, testament to the nerves of some of the drivers out there. Got to wonder, though, the pace has not dropped off enough for a green flag stop for tyres to be worthwhile. They're still doing 41.4s, 41.5s. They're only a couple tenths off their best. So really, no matter how bad your tyres start to feel, if the pace is still there, you've got to stay out.
Yeah, I really think you do. And David, we are about to unfortunately come up on some lap traffic, and that is the BAMS Nation one-man show representative Jordan Babcock, unfortunately, is running around this track a bit on an island, but this pack is going to swarm up on him very, very quickly, and he needs to be very careful. These guys ought to be very careful when it comes down to. And David, we're watching Lynn Kinchler drop back a little bit, David. I think he gave another car a very strong bump on that last lap, but I wonder if he has not caused himself a bit of aero damage, or possibly is concerned about some heating on that engine as we watch. Oh my goodness, we watch Justin Lamons almost run up into Devin Peters on that outside line, and he is now the sandwich in between these two, and Alex Albert is probably taking a nice breather back in the front here, saying, get me the heck out of these guys and what is going on back here. But David, they're probably going to catch Jordan Babcock here in the next 2 laps, and that's going to be a very important situation to watch as we have just over 13 minutes left in this race, and everybody can get by him hopefully good and safe. I imagine, oh my goodness, is Alex Crawford super close to Riley Wyans. My goodness.
Yep, they're still too wide, and pray they don't make it more. Here they go. Riley Wyans throws it down the inside, 3 wide. He's going to try and grab the lead, and I feel like a lot of the tyre advantage he had earlier on is gone now. The only thing I can imagine he's got going for him is just a little bit more fuel in the car. Potentially, we'll have to see. 3 wide back there, a little bit of contact. Giovanni Romano almost clobbers the outside wall. He manages to gather it up, and I have to say, these road racing tyres, road racing suspension, it seems like there's a bit of a bumping and barging. These guys are really able to save the car, catch slides, and obviously not the fastest configuration for going around a speedway like this, and they're absolutely chewing through the tyres, it would seem like. But they look like past the limit, they're able to still drive them, still catch them. Alex Albert is almost getting away. This is the biggest gap, 3 car lengths we've seen for the lead in a while. Maybe getting a bit of a draft off Jordan Babcock, but sooner or later he'll have to work out how he's going to put a lap on that car and how everyone else gets past. Does Jordan Babcock try and stay with this train? We'll have to wait and see. Lamons is going to try and go high on Alex Albert. What will happen when they catch this lapped car?
I don't know. It looks like Jordan Babcock already showed his intentions. He's going to stay very high, very respectful move out of the way here. And David, we're really starting to see these guys take a true NASCAR line around this track now, as the grip is so terribly limited at this point. They are taking corner entry very high, diving and likely rolling into the throttle, and then accelerating on the way out. They're getting a little bit of a better run. Oh, we see Justin Lamons dive inside for that position on Alex Albert. I don't know if he can make it stick. We're going to watch these guys slide way up there. Oh, and Riley Wyans almost was some kind of got the wall. So yeah, David, these are more traditional NASCAR lines now, as these tires are probably screaming for help at this point, but that is where these cars are making their best grip with that rolling throttle, and we are 3 wide for P2.
Yep, inside line not quite working as well as it might have liked for Riley Wyans, but he gets away with it because there was a little bit of a bump almost between Devin Peters and Justin Lamons. They keep it going. Those two are now 2 wide, and behind there, that's Alex Coffard's worked his way up 18 spots. He was scored in 4th briefly. He's going to probably work his way back to 6th, but he's there or thereabouts. He's having a bit of a good run. He's one of those... he's actually stopped 3 times, so he's come down every time we've had a caution, and now deep in this green flag run, it's working out for him that he's got fresh tyres, presumably enough fuel to get to the end. That's one that I'm going to have to keep an eye on in the last couple of laps. Do the leaders have enough fuel? Do the leaders have enough liters, dare I say?
David, I wish I could give you that answer, but I do not know. Now, I don't want to throw any caution to the wind here, but it looks like Alex Crawford got himself a little bit of right rear damage. He was entering NASCAR 2 about 2 laps ago, and David, they do have the safer barriers here, which there's a bunch of padding in between the concrete barrier and then a soft barrier. That wall comes up pretty quick on you, and David Peters entering NASCAR 2 did clip that wall. Oh, David, oh my goodness, give him a big wreck.
Huge one for Lammers. He think he got together there with Riley Wines, and of course the caution immediately out. And we were so blessed with how long the racing stayed green. Unfortunately, it has to come to an end. I'm going to go back and have a look at that one, Aaron.
Yeah, David, I'm watching as well. It looks like, yeah, Riley Wines was just on. He couldn't have been any more outside, and I just don't know if Justin Lamont saw how close he was to the wall there. They thought it may have had a bit of room, but Giovanni Romano was also part of it. David, did Nate Franklin survive that? Because Giovanni Romano was involved in that wreck, and if Giovanni Romano has significant damage, Nate Franklin may have just got himself. Oh, David, it looks like Giovanni Romano was missing a hood. He has heavy contact for him. So Nate Franklin, he had fallen back, but it looks like Nate Franklin may be in a very opportunistic position in terms of the championship after that very big wreck with that lead pack.
I can't remember if Romano's had to use a fast repair yet. I don't think he has. If he's held on to it, if he's not used it earlier, then he won't be in too much trouble. But if he hadn't thought to disable it in any of his earlier pits, then he could be in some trouble. So Alex Albert, still your leader, and he's scored as lots of lead laps. Devin Peters in second, Lynn Kinchelow in third, Alex Coffard now in fourth, Austin Burdick fifth, Daniel Bart sixth, Brian Beeman seventh, John Patrick eighth, Riley Wyans ninth after being involved in that accident, and 10th is Jeremy Rogers. That's before we get the drivers down onto pit road. You imagine with how tortured they were looking. Even if you're Alex Albert, you think about coming down onto the pit road, surely.
Yeah, I would think so. We just saw Lynn Kinchelow take a peek into the pit lane. David, I don't know if that is a sign of weakness or not, whether he's concerned about fuel, because it looks like he was really hoping that somebody may go down there with him, but that was absolutely not the case. Now, David, the pit lap is long enough on this, so if you probably go in and take tires, you may be okay, but with just 7 minutes left in this race, I just don't know if that's a smart thing to do. And Dave, we're starting to see some of these guys on the pit limiter, so I think your speculation about maybe some fuel concerns here may be real with some of these guys, and maybe they're using that new iRacing feature where you can kill the engine to potentially turn it off in some of these straightaways, David, but I think we may have ourselves a MPG battle here at the very end with these massive 6.2-liter V8s, because boy, are they thirsty, and I think these guys are starting to worry about that.
I have a feeling like maybe they're just using the pit lane speed limiter because it's the only way you can make the headlights flash in this car. But to my knowledge, pits will be open for the leaders this time by, if I am correct. And you know, about 20 or so cars on the lead lap, but even if you're someone like Alex Albert, you go to the back of those 20 cars, if you've got tyres that are going on 45 laps newer than everyone around you, surely with, 8 green flag laps or so, you'd be able to make all of that back up on people with, going on 50 lap old tyres. We'll have to see. I think those guys choose to stay out. That is very, very bold. So our drivers who have on the lead lap who have taken new tires, I see Mark Antonucci in 18th, Giovanni Romano in 19th, and he's come out. He's gotten that damage repaired, and then also Antonio Alvarez now in 19th has taken new tires. This is going to be a very, very exciting finish.
It is going to be a very exciting finish. And David, right now, our points positions are going to take another big shakeup, because right now Alex Albert is in P5 on points, but he is very close behind Devin Peters. Just 2 points separate these two, and it just so happens Alex Albert is just in front of Devin Peters here. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this turns out. And David, let's take a quick mention of our very likely Dick Insider hard charger of the race, and that could potentially be Mr. P4, Alexander Coffard. He is up 18 spots in this race, David, with just 5 minutes left. So I don't want to call it just yet, but right now Daniel Bartz is the next closest one, and then John Patrick behind that. But my goodness, what a drive from Alexander Coffard tonight.
Yep, provisionally as it stands, he would pick up that hard charger award. A lot to still happen. This last 5 minutes is going to be hectic. Lights are out on the pace car. They're coming around turns 3 and 4, I believe. Alex Albert backs the pack up just a little bit. And boy, is it dark there now compared to when we started. All in a line, pace car in. When does Alex Albert jump? It's now. And he gets a little bit of a gap over Devin Peters. Behind them there, they're too wide already. That's Cofford and Burdick. And a great jump as well from John Patrick. So up the front, old tyres. Right at the back of this pack, some cars on new tyres. 4 minutes, 15 seconds to go, 8 laps. The Red iRacing League, Season 24, Round 8, CTS-V at Michigan. And Devin Peters is going for the lead.
He's going to go for the lead right now. That is not the preferred line. As these guys have they have cooled off their tires just a little bit. Alex Albert is very high, very high. David, he has touched the wall. David, he has touched the wall. It was just a love tap. It's just a bit of a love tap to make sure that car, but it was with the right rears. Again, these guys are drifting over. But Lynn Kinchelow, my goodness, he has worked his way up 15 spots, and Alex Albert is going to look back inside to try and reclaim that spot. But David, we have just 3 minutes. Oh, and Alex Albert with a big slide job. Lynn Kinchelow, and watch Alexander Crawford, who has taken 3 stops this race and worked his way all the way up, but he's going to try and fall in right behind Alex Albert and potentially push his way past Lynn Kinchelow, and is he going to make it stick? No, he's not going to quite make it stick. But David, Devin Peters is running away with this. My goodness, he's running a very good line. Alex Albert with not a strong line right there, but David, we've got just a little 5 laps left if we stay green. These guys have got a lot of racing to do, and they're all spread out right now. They've got to decide on a strategy to catch up with Devin Peters.
Yeah, Albert's now back in the slipstream, closing up to Devin Peters. Alex Coffard's on the outside of Lynn Kinchelow, and behind that in 5th place, Austin Burdick. Single file restart. The pack's not as dense as it was earlier, but I imagine it'll all close up with the guys who haven't taken tyres yet. Giovanni Romano, oh my goodness, there's been problems for him. He's shuffled back to 17th. Now, problems for Giovanni Romano. Still looking at the lead though. Albert and Devin Peters. And Alex Coffard's going to get a run. Is he going to try and go down the middle? Is he going to try and go for the lead? Who knows?
I don't think it's anybody's game right now. David, I've got my money on Lynn Kinchelow. He has been so impressive in this race, and he's shown that he has the gumption, the gusto to really make some very aggressive passes, and he's not afraid to use that bump trap either. So I've got my eye on Lynn Kinchelow with just about 3 laps left in this race. And my goodness, it's dark, David. You can't even see the next corner in front of you right now. So these guys are just going on instinct at this point, approaching this corner. And Alex Albert with a very strong line into that final corner. He's going to drive it all the way up to the top to cut off Devin Peters. But David, that's not what you want to do on this final lap, as you see how strong of a run Devin Peters can get. Alex Albert with the big block. Oh, Devin Peters almost collects Alex Cofford as they come across the line. David, we have about 3 laps to go, and these guys are ready to go for it. Wow, there's some aggressive blocking going on.
Yeah, Lynn Kinchelow's tyres 11 laps fresher than everyone around him, and now he uses it to try and go around the outside of Alex Coffard. He does get on the high line, a good run towards the lead, so it's Albert, Peters, Kinchelow. Behind that, John Patrick goes around the outside of Alex Coffard. Who's behind them? Daniel Bartz, Austin Burdick, and Brian Beeman. So Devin Peters leads. Alex Albert is up high. Lynn Kinchelow is following behind Alex Albert, going to try and get the best run he can. Dives it all the way down low, but he doesn't have the momentum, and all the cars behind closing up. 1 minute on the clock, 2 laps to go. Albert goes to the inside of Devin Peters. These two have dueled for the race lead all race, and now it's getting to the pointy end of proceedings. Nearly going 3 wide in the background there. John Patrick up high. He's going to try and work his way into the podium spots. If you can get a good run off turns 3 and 4, he will. But for the lead, Peters taps Albert. They both carry on, but Albert goes up way high. They all lose momentum, and that could have been a lot worse. Devin Peters using the short track.
If you spin, David. No,
Racing
I take that back.
Green. A couple driving down my timing screen, but we're going to have 1 or 2 laps to go. Not quite sure. Might be white flag. That might have been the white flag. Yes, indeed, I think it was. So this will be your final lap. Peters is up high. Albert is down low behind them. Lynn Kinchelow John Patrick, your 4 cars for the lead. Albert on the low line, trying to make it work. Peters up high, touches the wall, win it or bin it strategy. So Lynn Kinchelow, I think, will get 3rd place, but it's for Albert and Patrick to the line. Albert's got his nose ahead. Patrick can't go anywhere. And your winner is Alex Albert from John Patrick. Kinchelow gets 3rd. Austin Burdick sneaks through for 4th. Bart's 5th. Devin Peters tried everything, finds himself back in 6th place.
What a finish. John Patrick up 21 spots tonight, David. And I'm trying to look at my timing screen. David, are you also seeing he one-stopped this entire race, which means he was on some very old tires as well. And I'm following along with Austin Burdick, and I'm hearing some sputtering, David. So I think any sort of green flag checker, these guys couldn't have. But wow, what a finish by Alex Albert. David, that is going to move him up very well in the points race tonight, as unfortunately Nate Franklin and Giovanni Romano did not have a very good night, but Devin Peters is right there with him. Wow, that was a finish, and kudos to everyone that managed to one-stop this race and hold on to that car, because wow, that looked like an absolute handful.
That's got to be some of the craziest pack racing we've seen in Reddit iRacing League, potentially ever, but certainly this season. Absolutely wild, 3 wide, 4 wide, and for the most times they held it. We got quite a bit of good green flag running, which is fantastic to see. But in the end, our finishing order is your winner, Alex Albert, 2nd place, and Dickens Sider, hard charger of the race, John Patrick, 3rd, Lynn Kinchelow, 4th, Austin Burdick, 5th place goes to Daniel Bartz, 6th is Devin Peters, 7th, Alex Coffard, 8th, Brian Beeman, 9th, Nate Franklin, and 10th, Justin Hall. That's
right, and we've got Andrew Fawcett, P12, Never Live Smith, nice recovery drive, working his way all the way up to P12. Mark Antonucci up 11 spots tonight, P13, Philip Linden, P14, Brian Schohoff, P14, Colby Collins, P16, Antonio Alvarez, very tough night being involved in a couple wrecks, finishes in P17, Giovanni Morano, P18, Jeremy Rogers, P19, and rounding out our top 20 is Ryan Verhulst. Finishing out the rest of the grid, Justin Lamons, P21, Jordan Babcock, another tough ride tonight. Babs Nation is disappointed with this one in P22. Ryan Waylands, P20, Riley Wayans, P23, Christopher Fleming, P24, Rob Hopp, P24, Jonathan Dixon, P26, and Benjamin Cox, P27. David, that is a mouthful of race cars, and my goodness, what a race tonight. I am going to quickly hop out and see if I can grab ourselves some podium drivers.
Yep, fantastic. I know our race winner, Alex Albert's normally happy to have a word with us. See if we can still find him kicking around.
Hey, do you get a copy?
Indeed, I think we've got all of our podium finishes here. So first of all, we'll go to our winner, Alex Albert. Alex, that was some pretty crazy pack racing there, and it looked like the road racing tires on this car don't hold up that well around an oval.
Yeah, I was surprised, honestly, how well they did hold up. The downforce really helped. Devin got into me there with about 2 to go and pitched me sideways, but I was luckily with all the downforce I was able to get it straightened back up there. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Very high intensity racing though.
Well, a win for you is maximum points, and the likes of Nate Franklin, Giovanni Romano, who you're in the title battle with, haven't done so well. What does that do for your hopes?
Well, it's all we can do, right? Show up, get the maximum points, and we'll just have to let the chips fall where they do with the other guys. So, Mr. Race earlier in the season with the Miata probably would have been a good race, and just had some poor showings early in the season. So we've got ourselves a little bit further back in the points battle than we'd like to be, but still got one more round. So we'll see what happens. I don't know if we'll win, but a top 3 would be a successful season.
And anyone to thank?
I just want to thank all the UJazz guys and all the RiL mods for putting on a great event, and thanks to the HJBC guys, Mr. Derby, Mr. Haynes, and Mr. Thacker for such a wonderful broadcast.
And thank you for coming to have a word with us. And Aaron, we've got our second place finisher, John Patrick. And as we said, the Dickens side, a hard charger of the race as well. And you're going to have a word with him.
John Patrick, welcome to the booster and fantastic P2 drive tonight. You were up 21 spots on a one-stop strategy. Talk us through your night and what was the success getting through other than avoiding some pretty big wrecks. Talk us through your night.
I just try to kind of bring my strategy that I bring to. I run a lot of Indy fixed, and my strategy there is usually to, if guys want to be aggressive and get by, just let them go, save tires, stay out of trouble, and that's kind of what I did tonight, and kind of saved the pushing until towards the end, and it worked out well. After qualifying 23rd, I was like, oh, I was looking forward to maybe running close to the front here. I do a lot of oval, and it didn't seem like it was going to happen, but here we are.
Now, I think the differences are obvious, but talk us through what it's like driving this car around Michigan versus driving the Indy car around Michigan.
Here it feels like you're driving a bus really, really, really fast. The car slides a lot, but it was pretty controllable. I like the setup. It seemed to work pretty well. And it was mostly just the draft made a difference. It wasn't ridiculous. Some of the guys were saying it's huge. I mean, it wasn't insane. But yeah, it was good.
Well, John Patrick, congratulations on your drive tonight, sir. Again, you're up 21 spots, starting, as you mentioned, from 23rd tonight. So, heck of a drive. We really enjoyed watching. We really thought you were going to give Alex Albert a run for his money, but I think respect got the best of you at the very end there to not cause it. So, fantastic drive tonight, sir. Any thanks or shout-outs before you head out tonight?
I want to give thanks and a shout out to Tom, who set up the session. He tested the setup, set up the session so we could run it up until the last bit of light so we could actually sort of kind of see the track. And he's been having a rough season, I feel for him, but he'll be back next week, I hope. And looking forward to racing with him and racing with more of the huge-ass guys and more else broadcasts.
Thank you, John Patrick. And David, I'm going to let you talk to the number P3 driver tonight, whose name I want to apologize in advance that I butchered more than once tonight, Mr. Lynn Kinchelo. He's yours.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, there we go. Welcome to the commentary box. And I guess a good race for you. Any race where you're up 14 spots and you're on the podium, it must be a good one.
It's a good day ultimately. I know I'm not a regular at the championship, so I would have liked to be one step over to the left, I believe it is, to set on top step. But a third's pretty good overall in the Direct Innovations Unorthodox Racing Cadillac CTS-V.
And talk us about qualifying, because it was very, very close. And obviously you started from 17th position. What would you have needed to have been further up the grid for qualifying?
Truthfully, qualifying has never been my strong suit. It's one of those things that when you're on a track by yourself, it's just basically a Sunday drive, but then getting onto track with a group of other cars and it just comes alive.
Well, third place for you, and actually you're the first of the cars on the podium that took 2 pit stops. When the cautions came out, what was your thought process between staying out or coming in and pitting?
Well, as John mentioned, this is kind of very similar to Indy Fixed, but also the NASCAR iRacing C Fixed class series, where you're going to not have a lot of power to be able to get through the corner, coupled with the aero push at Indy Fixed. That basically meant that coming in and being on the freshest set of at least right side tires was going to be the critical point. And that's what's definitely made the difference for me. I went in with the rest of them on the first stop thinking potentially that would be the only stop, but I kept the second pit stop in as a reserve strategy because I knew when I would get into the draft, I would anticipate where I would need to lift to counteract the aero push. And that was what really set me up for being able to pass. I believe it was somewhere close to 10 cars off that second pit stop, coming from 15th on the restart.
Well, once again, congratulations to you. And what's the chance we'll see you next week for the GTEs at Circuit de la Sarthe?
Nil. It's a right turn. I don't do well turning right.
Well, thanks for showing up for this one then. Congratulations to you and anyone you'd like to thank while we've got you.
Want to thank my team owner, Matt Gilder. He owns Unorthodox Motorsports. We primarily run a couple other series. I just had an opportunity to jump in and race with y'all as an interloper. Hopefully I didn't mess up anybody's championship too badly on that one. Direct Innovations, Simability. They make sim controls for other-abled individuals so they can participate in our fine hobby right here. That's it.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Well, Aaron, there we go. Very, very exciting racing to watch. Stressful at times. At the end, I think a pretty damn good race and a good showing all round.
David, the only thing I can really say at the end of this race is championship implications. Our points leader, Giovanni Romano, finished P18. Nate Franklin, our second runner-up in the points, finished P9. Alex Albert, P1, Alex Crawford, and Jordan Babcock finished all the way down in P22. So, David, there's massive shakeups in the points tonight. I cannot wait to see how this shakes out. And, wow, I think we are all in for a real treat next week at Cirque de la Sarthe in the GTEs. And I believe it, David, we are going to go from, I think, night to dusk in this one. So we're going to reverse what we saw tonight and get a nice little sunrise.
Should be fantastic. Should be good racing. And I hope you'll join us again 1 week's time, same place, same time for Reddit iRacing League. I've been David Haynes, have had Aaron Thacker alongside me, pressing all the buttons, doing the hard work. Michael Derby, our thanks to you. Thanks so much for tuning in, and hopefully we'll see you next time.